He's been bending your mind for as long as your mind cares to remember, and now he's taught other people to do it. His new show, Unbelievable, is now playing at London's Criterion Theatre. So please welcome the charming trickster we all know and love, and are ever so slightly scared of. It's Derren Brown!
Good morning, Darren!
Hello, I like charming trickster, thank you.
So what's going on?
Well, I'm not in this one, but I co-created it. So with the two guys that have made my shows over the years with me, so we thought we'd like just rethink what a magic show could be. So it's on at the Criterion, right on Piccadilly Circus, and it's really lovely. They're like a proper multi-talented cast. That was important. We didn't just want a bunch of magicians doing their acts. So it's very musical. It's not a musical, but it's very musical. It's got a lovely, uplifting family thing. It's not very Derren Browny, actually, which I quite like. It's a whole range of magic that I never have managed to dip my toes into at all. So now I have, writing stuff that I wouldn't do myself. And something with a kind of proper family audience in mind. It's a joyful thing.
It sounds fantastic. I mean, you say it's not really that Derren Browny, but maybe it is.
Well, I mean, it's not dark and scary.
Yeah, but maybe that's not who you are anyway. Maybe this is an alter ego.
I am in a cardigan, as you may have noticed.
You are. By the way, that's great. So have a little guess on that.
I've got a bit of a cold, and you've brought me.
This is a Marx thing. Richard Marx. Richard Marx, the
I do know
50 million selling album guy. He brought this in one day for us, and we have it every day, and we swear by it. And
that's nice.
Pretty awesome.
I've just taken a sip without really knowing.
I know. I don't know what's in it.
Gingery? Is ginger and
gingery, honey, cayenne pepper, hot water, and something else. Lemon.
Nice.
Works wonders. You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Thank you too.
So the fact it's musical is gorgeous. Music. So we were talking about movies the other day, and how come movies are so powerful? Well, because everything that moves us is in there. Everything sort of non-verbal. I mean, obviously there are words in there, but there's musical scores. There's the imagery. There's the poetry. There's the unseen. There's the tacit. And to bring all that into magic. Has anyone done this before?
No, they haven't. And we've gone for a kind of New York subway feel with the music.
Nice.
So they are amazing, actually. The cast is there's 8 of them. There's sort of 10 altogether, but you sort of get 8 on each night, and they had to be. We wanted people that could do the magic. We wanted people that could play. They're phenomenal players, like saxophone players, an amazing drummer, amazing trumpeter. Trumpeter? I'm not sure that's the word.
Trumpeter.
Trumpetist.
Trumpeteer?
Trumpeteer. Oh, you nailed it. Trumper. Thank you. No, that's something else. And it's. I'm sort of in awe of them a bit, and there's something about. Turns out musicians tend to make quite good magicians, because they've got that skill base that thinks, maybe I can't do this now, but in a month I'll be able to do it, or a couple of weeks I'll be better. Which magicians are bad at thinking, because we're all about shortcuts.
Also,
and
they
cheating.
have dexterity,
and they got the dexterity,
fluid dexterity,
but amazing kind of work and practice ethic. They've been astonishing. So I come in and see the show every now and then and give notes, and it's been going for a little while.
You're the Noel Coward of the piece.
I am. we run until the 6th or 7th of January. I think it's sort of so it's got little bit of time left to come and see it.
Could you jump in there if you had to? Because Noel Coward used to do
in
that.
An emergency.
He used to do that. He used to go there with the Queen Mum, and if it wasn't going that well, he would jump in and just say, "I'll do the second half. Don't worry about this." By the Spirit, apparently. Happened all the time.
That's hilarious.
How magic can it be when trained magicians, as good as the musicians are not around? How magic does it get? Where does the music meet the magic? What is the overall kind of
they're better.
takeaway?
I think they're better magicians than most of the magicians I've seen. What we wanted to avoid was a bunch of magic acts in a row, which is sort of. It's egoless. That's what's happened. There's none of that kind of.
Also, because it's not what they do.
No, well, it's what they do now, and they're brilliant at it. And they had different relationships with magic. Some had done a lot, some had done none. But it just brought it's a very fresh sort of approach. So I was really distracted then by that thing going up and down on your desk on its own. Like you're touching it. I thought,
Darren Brown's in the house. Yeah. The faders start moving themselves.
It was a slider.
Did you just do that with your mind?
I thought I did. I just thought slider go up.
Well, you would know.
So yeah, it's a really egoless thing, which is really unusual with magic. I think it's the thing that always gets in the way of magic.
Well,
is the
also
kind of
because
the-
it's novel to them. They might be good at
Yeah.
it, and some may have done it before. But because it's novel to them, they are meeting it with that sort of that nascent innocence and excitement.
I think so. And the audience experience is delicious. It's lovely. Every time I go sit, I sort of hide at the back and make notes. But it's lovely watching people go through a proper experience
Right.
of wonder, which
Okay.
is lovely.
What notes are you making?
What notes am I making?
Yeah.
Tiny little notes, actually. I'll do this, do that. Don't
Like
say
what, for
that.
example?
Pardon?
Like what, for example?
Like, oh no, I can't because
Come
that'll
on,
be
no, it's fine.
specific.
It's fine. Nobody minds.
That would be specific to
Particular people.
to particular people. Well, it is interesting seeing because most of them have their sort of if their experience is sort of in acting, you don't really get to, as an actor, you don't get to properly interact with an audience
Yes.
much. So that was a big thing we needed to
Yes.
to look for was that, as opposed to perhaps great acting skills. But
So people who don't fear it, who sort of embrace that.
because you never quite know what you're going to get. You know, a show that's relying on audience participation.
Yeah,
from
and that's
night
what
to
you're
night.
so good at. Because when you dive into the audience, you have, I presume, 100 options of where to go.
Yeah.
And if on the after the first exchange, you will go one way or another, and you'll have all these micro automatic decisions in your head, won't you? Which
Yeah,
get
yeah.
you to the piece where
Totally, which
for everybody's benefit.
they've all had to find their way through. Also, when you book tickets, there's a thing you can tick saying if you'd like to take part. There's like a big
nice.
thing that happens at the end,
That's
so
a
you
yes.
can register your enthusiasm.
Nobody says no to that, do they? They're coming to see a Derren Brown show. No,
I
not
think
me.
that's really good because I think some people wouldn't want to.
Some
take
people would.
part.
I wouldn't want. I mean, you still get to take part throughout the show, but this is one particular bit at the end.
Yeah,
that
but I think
people
that's really
put
good for
their
Oh,
name
people
yeah,
down.
that
this
might
is you.
hesitate
You're
to
doing what you
come.
always do. There's one particular bit at the end. Can't really tell you what, but come on, what is it?
Can't tell you what the bit at the
colour?
end
If it
is.
was a colour, what would it be? This particular end bit.
Oh, purple.
And what if it was a genre of music? What would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. What's a mystery uplifting genre of music?
Pink Floyd,
Pink Floyd. Oh,
Dark
wow.
Side of the Moon.
Oh, that's
You
good.
think so? Or War of the Worlds?
War of the Worlds.
Badass
With
as
a
hell.
bit of New York subway
Yeah, a bit
take
of,
on that.
Tubular Bells.
Tubular
Tubular Bells. We re-listened to Tubular Bells the other day because no one wanted to hear
Isn't
it.
that a bit exorcisty for an uplift?
Woo! Yeah, we moved on swiftly, let me tell you. I'm not going to... This is not me telling the interview, it's just me reminding people while you're on. Unbelievable at the Criterion Theatre until Jan 7th. Tickets available via unbelievablelive.com. Is there a story to it?
There's a heart to it. There's, it's about the way we compare our insides to other people's outsides.
Nice.
And that's not a good thing. We do it all the time. It's
Yeah.
we see the best of other people, what they show us, and we compare it to the worst parts of ourselves. And it struck me it's a bit like a magic trick because you got the bit that you show the world, and then you got all the stuff you keep hidden. And we're sort of walking around doing a magic trick every day. So that's at its heart. It's about that stuff.
Because you flirted with this public facing as well, haven't you?
What do you mean? Public
You know,
facing?
self-development, and I think you've talked about that, and you've written a book about it.
Yeah, I think as you grow up, it's magic's just about trying to impress people. So it's nice to bring something else to it rather than just look at me, aren't I clever?
I suppose so. I mean, in the end, it moves people. We talked about Apollo Robbins the other day.
Oh, I love Apollo
I
Robbins.
know. Who doesn't love Apollo Robbins? He was new to my radar. I banged on about him for about 3 days, I think, for 3.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
What an amazing human being.
He's an
And
amazing
then
human being.
He used to work for you.
Yeah, he did. I've known him
Tell
for years.
people who Apollo Robbins
So
is.
Apollo Robbins is a phenomenal pickpocket with a whole background in sort of real life pickpocketing as well. I think he's worked for all sorts of organisations that sort of. FBI and stuff like
Yeah,
that? I don't know.
CIA,
Done all
FBI.
that, CIA, I guess. Lives out in Vegas, is a lovely man. And actually, I saw him a couple of years ago, and he told me one of the best things I'd heard, which had nothing to do with pickpocketing, but it is to do with that sense of wonder that magicians have. So he's got a young daughter, and I don't know how old she is now, but I think she's probably around 5 or 6. And they, before she was born, they walled up or sort of secretly hid. There was a room in their apartment that they didn't need, like it was a spare room. So they put like this sort of bookcase thing over it. So she's had 5 years of living in this house not knowing that there's this extra room, and then they're going to let her discover it, which probably by now has happened. But I thought, what a lovely long-term surprise.
It's very pickpocket parenting, that, isn't it?
Pickpocket parenting, yeah.
So what did he do for you? So he helps construct the scenarios.
He came. That's right. I did years ago. I did a pickpocketing sequence at I think it was London, one of the big train stations, and I'd always used to do a lot of pickpocketing, sort of but as an entertainer, like when I was doing close-up magic round tables in restaurants, that sort of thing. But he really is one of the absolute best. So he came in and helped with that.
Can we play this story?
Guy.
Okay, so this is Apollo Robbins telling a story about Penn Jillette. Here we go.
Penn Jillette, he said, "Still something from me now." I said, that's kind of like saying, "Be funny now." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Let me tell you about something that happened to somebody one time. If I steal a watch from someone, it's 1 + 1. You say, 'Oh, you're fast. You got my watch. I didn't notice.' I said, but one time I was talking to a guy, and during the conversation, I stole his pen. I took the refill of his pen out, put his pen back together, put it back in place. And later I was asking him to sign something. And when he went to sign it, he couldn't. He realized he couldn't. He went to write it down. And he says, "Okay, yeah, but are you going to steal something from me?" I said, "Can you draw a circle around this ring for me?" And he pulled out his pen and go to it. And then he stops and he stares at me and he realizes he's the guy in the story. And he opened his pen and saw that the refill wasn't there. And he goes, "You." And I said, "Now, Penn, isn't that better than taking your wallet?" And I threw his wallet on the table.
Did you like that?
He's great.
Is that typical Apollo?
Yeah. He's got the most imaginative response. Yeah, that thing of not stealing someone's pen, but stealing the refill out of their pen and then putting it back in their pocket. It's just glorious.
Just for a laugh, not even on stage.
Yeah.
Just to prove a point. Not prove a point, just have some fun with a fellow illusionist. Your show, the new show, is called Unbelievable. What is the most unbelievable thing that you have seen from a fellow illusionist, mentalist, magician, hypnotist? The best thing you've ever seen. The one that you thought, right, okay, now that's raised the bar a bit.
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, that's a moonshot for me.
I've always loved Penn and Teller's shows out in Vegas in particular.
Are they like off the chain?
First time I saw them, I absolutely, they're proper jaw-dropping moments which were glorious.
For example, for why?
Well, he does a trick which I think is called Silverfish, and it's the plot is called Miser's Dream, which is a classic in magic where you're producing coins from thin air, but they have a very different take on it, and it involves a tank of water. It won't sound like anything describing it. It'd be like a fish tank, and he's reaching in with empty hands into the water and coming out with like large coins, and it probably doesn't sound like anything, but it's so perfect and impossible. And I was there with Andy Nyman, who's one of the co-directors of Unbelievable with me, and we both had that moment of just staring at each other and just the jaw-dropping thing, which does actually happen, like your jaw does drop, and it's very nice as a magician to have. And there are several moments like that in the show, but I remember that in particular, and then it just builds and builds from there, and it becomes, I don't want to spoil it for anybody that might see it, but it's it's a really lovely moment when you kind of feel like you've seen it all. You can also get fooled by stuff, of course, that you know exactly how it works, but which I didn't with this, and I still don't know, but you can be fooled by stuff that you know how it works, but in the moment it doesn't occur to you because you're just caught up in the story of it. So it's a lovely feeling when it happens. But I loved that. There's also a guy called David Berglass who just passed away recently, who's I owe a lot of what's in my shows to him, and he was a sort of mind reader, mentalist figure as well. In 97 he was when he passed away. But he did some extraordinary stuff, and he had a routine of table lifting. So it's that kind of people from the audience standing around a table with their hands on it, and it's just floating up in the air, and there's no wires, it's not attached to anything. And it's I remember seeing that as a kid, and it was just life-changing.
All right, okay. Obviously not how, and then you're going to tell us, but sort of how. How-ish?
I don't know. I mean, I've got to know him, got to know him when he was older, and sort of through understanding his thinking and how he's working, you sort of get half a sense of, maybe it was a bit of.
Do you ever come out and just ask him?
No, there's like a sort of etiquette where you don't do that.
Go on, tell us.
But yeah, he was glorious.
It's really good. All this stuff is really good because I don't go to many magic shows because I just can't cope with them. Do you know what I mean? They just fry my brain because I go, my excuse for it is, yeah, but it's all what it is. It's choreographed. It's written. It's practiced. It's rehearsed. Yeah. That's what I want to believe, but it's not. I just don't because I can't cope with it because it's too good.
It does. Some people do find it.
It's just too good. It's like it's too good. This is all too good. Don't know how they do this. Don't know how they do this. Obviously, it's not magic, but it is magic. That's what I think.
I think it's a good feeling if it hits the right spot and you haven't got the ego of a performer getting in the way of it. If it's just a feeling of that kind of wonder, I think it's. I think it's a glorious.
But when you see Penn and Teller did the thing with the coins in the tank, right?
Yeah.
Which bit of it was the most astounding bit? Was it because it was? Did they know that it would freak other magicians out if they did it in water? Because you'd think I could do all this if it wasn't in water. When you bring water into this, suddenly it's a whole different level of.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
the storytelling because if you just produce a coin at your fingertips, that's one thing, and it feels
Can you do all that
familiar.
Stuff? Can you do it?
I think probably at one point I used to do a lot, but I never really was into coin magic. It's kind of its own thing. But but reaching into water kind of gives you a story. Now you've got clear water is such a clear story to that.
When it came out with
it's like a giant coin out of clear. It's like doing it with this water glass. Now it's much more puzzling than just going da 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 in the air and plucking a coin out. Especially if you go da 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 da. Never do that.
I wonder when the first ever ta-da was heard. When it was a vocal ta-da, it was like it was a trumper.
It's probably a trumper. Yeah.
The first instrument to trump and why and who was behind it, and then another piece. Oh, that's a good sound. Let's do that. Ta-da! What's your most memorable ta-da?
I will find out and report back.
Oh my!
Next time I see you.
There's a joke about Mr. Sledgehammer, isn't there? Ta-da! Yeah, it's a long joke.
I just read out some terrible jokes for your Christmas.
Oh, I'm so glad they were terrible.
Quite. Because you didn't write them yourself.
No, that's the job. They're Christmas jokes.
They're really. I mean, good, terrible.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Give us one. Give us one. Can you remember one?
I can't tell you the one I read out. Can I? It's the only one I remember. The others I tried to.
Nobody's waiting for it, mate. Don't worry about it. We're not on the edge of our seats.
Why are advent calendars harder to buy now?
I don't know. Why are advent calendars harder to buy now?
Because their days are numbered.
Very good.
That was the best one on the list.
Oh dear.
I looked through.
Oh dear.
Right. So you and magic and this wonderful show of yours, and Apollo Robbins.
Now.
That?
I'm painting. I'm taking a break now.
Well, you painted before. I mean, you're an amazing artist, Steve. We talked about Steve Martin yesterday because he lived his life. He always had a plan to live his life by decades. So 15 to 25, he would master comedy. 25 to 35, he would master acting. 35 to 45, he would master music. And 45 to 55, he would master the world of art because he'd always bought paintings with his money, and also painting. And apparently, he's now great. You've done it before, though. I mean, what's your true nature? Is it painting or is it being a magician? Or?
It's kind of nice to have both because painting I've always done. I paint these big portraits, and I've sort of always done it, and it's nice because it's quite a private thing to get on. I don't have anybody sitting for me, so I just sort of get on with it privately. That's lovely, and it's nice to balance that with a showy thing. But but Unbelievable and Showman, which was the last show I did, they kind of crossed over a bit. So it was I had a bit of burnout, so I kind of needed a proper break. So now I'm doing like a year of painting, which is lovely. I sell them on my website. I should say I do prints and
which is your bestseller?
David Bowie. I think for some reason
I would like a brown
yeah.
Bowie, wouldn't you? Did you meet him?
No, never did. You must have done.
Did actually, yeah.
Was he just sensational?
He was really sensational. But better than meeting him and working with him, which I did, he actually phoned me up once and other people heard him on the phone. In fact, somebody said, Chris, David Bowie's on the phone for you. I said, excuse me? David Bowie? Sorry, I can't hear you. David Bowie's on the phone for you. That was a moment. It was a moment. That was great. Yesterday I was thinking about you coming on the show because I want it to be good for you. I want you to enjoy yourself and I want to ask you the right questions. And then I was thinking about a scenario and I thought, not that you'd ever done this ever, right? But if, for example, if Derren Brown one of the greatest magicians on the planet, if he said to me, think of 2 cards, and then I thought of 2 cards, and I basically I responded to your question. If you asked me a question,
yes,
the beginning of a scenario,
yes,
then I would respond to your question, then we'd be off and running.
Right.
And I thought, but what if I just answer a question that you've not asked me yet? How would you be with that?
If you answered a question
That you
I hadn't actually
So
asked.
I imagine that you asked me a question yesterday afternoon, came up with the answer, and I thought, I wonder if he could then tell me.
What the question was.
No, I'll tell you what the question was. Think of 2 cards.
Okay.
And I thought, I wonder if, like last time you were in, you hypnotised me to think of this a year ago.
Oh, I see.
And here we are now.
That's
This
the
is
sort
the
of thing I
denouement.
do. That's the sort of thing I do.
Would you like to guess what the cards are?
2 of diamonds and the 3 of spades.
No way!
Yeah. I know what I'm doing. Play the long-term game.
How did you do that?
I kind of do it wherever I go.
I haven't written them down. I wish you'd written them down. They were the 2 cards. Those were the 2 cards.
Oh, I might have to leave the studio.
Well, how did you do that?
I did.
That was a year ago.
It was. Yes, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been.
That is amazing.
I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased that worked. I
How did you do that?
I like the long term.
Did you?
My pictures have just arrived. Look at that.
Great. Wow, yes.
Look
Cool.
at that. Felix, is it Felix? Yes. Felix has come in with the prints of my
Forget
pictures.
these are great. Go to his website. Okay, buy them all now. DerrenBrown.co.uk. How did you just do what you did?
It's just planting an
Shut
idea.
up.
We do it all the time in life. It's just how our minds work. Another thing I've been doing. I wrote a book for magicians, which was out
That was mad.
earlier this year, and I was talking about a long-term game, another long-term game that I've done for myself over the years with selfies, when people take selfies.
Yes.
And for years, I've been coding to my future self, because people show me the pictures years later and go, oh, this is a picture. So I've been using sign language in my selfies to code to my future self the name of the person that I'm having the photograph with, because I can hold my fingers in such a way.
Just for fun?
American Sign Language, you can do it with one hand. So they can show me a picture. And I go, I remember you. Yes, your name's so and so.
No way.
Yeah, so that was.
And you can do that.
Yeah, so if anybody looks at selfies with me from years ago and I'm holding my fingers at all in a strange way,
That is so clever.
I like the long-term games.
All right, so here's another question for you. This is a bit off piece. It's definitely on message, but it's off piece. Self-hypnosis, which
Yes.
you can go on YouTube now, and there are pretty bona fide people helping you to get to sleep and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you? Because I sleep terribly. I'm on kiwi fruit at the moment. It's not working. Pistachios. I cannot sleep. I've had to go all self-hypnosis stuff. Is there anything advice you can give us? I know it's different. It's a different kind of hypnosis, but you'll still know about it.
It's. I don't sleep that well either. Haven't tried the self-hypnosis stuff.
Question: Why not? Being one of the world's most famous hypnotists.
I think it feels a little unnecessary. It feels a bit involved to be listening to a whole thing before going to bed. Two things I find work. One is white noise, that kind of those things, those apps which are quite easy to get. But normally, what's happening is your brain is thinking, whatever I'm thinking about, this is important. I'm thinking about important stuff, and it's stopping you from switching off. So you can purposely direct your thoughts to trivial things and stick with them. So I've got certain images I go to. Penguin at a bus stop is one, because it struck me as a sort of a slightly dreamy image. So I'll think about a penguin at a bus stop, but I'll think about it in real detail. And if you stick with something like that for long enough, your brain eventually goes, oh, this isn't important. It's just something silly. But it takes a little while. And having a few things like that, or it could be a game that that's why the counting sheep sort of works. But you can, you just need to spend time thinking about something that isn't important and give your mind time to catch up and realise, because that's all that's happening. You're going through. It's all the stuff you don't get a chance to process during the day, just starts to kind of come up, and it's the only space often we have to kind of let those things surface. But yeah, it's a pain, isn't it?
I have no issue getting to sleep at all. I get to sleep within 5 minutes. I just wake up every 90 minutes.
It's the waking up,
circadian rhythm thing.
Yeah.
Do you meditate?
I don't really do any of that stuff. I always feel like I kind of should.
Well, I heard the only reason I asked that is because I thought you might. And if you meditate too much, apparently it does keep you awake at night because you don't need as much sleep.
Really?
Yeah, because meditation it's deep conscious rest as opposed to deep unconscious rest. And conscious rest is even better for you than unconscious rest. Both vital, otherwise you literally die if you don't have enough sleep.
Yeah, sure.
But if you can over meditate, which is a thing, apparently.
Well, penguin at a bus stop, if that helps.
Penguin at a
You
bus
can have
stop.
that, yeah. Oh, anything. Any.
I just want to form a band, call it Penguin at a bus stop.
And if you have the same image, then as soon as you go to it,
Yeah.
your mind starts to remember, okay, it's the penguin at the bus stop now. It's time
I'd
to
have
go
it
to
on the
sleep.
drum skin of the bass, like
Yeah.
the Beatles had the Beatles. You'd have the penguin at the bus stop. Have you ever painted the penguin at the bus stop?
I haven't painted the penguin at the
Why
bus stop.
not?
no. Well, it changes as well. I make it a little different from
Go
time
on,
to-
give
yeah.
us a little variation on the penguin.
Well, it's a classic bus stop that I think I used to go past in Croydon near my school where I used to grow up, and the penguin's just there on its own, and I really kind of zoom in.
Oh,
It's just there. I don't know if it's waiting for a bus. It's never left the bus stop because normally I'm asleep by the time.
I am in love with your penguin at your bus stop.
You can have that.
Thank you, mate. It's
Not
great.
everyone hears about that.
Unbelievablelive.com until Jan 7th. So curated, composed, constructed, co-constructed with you and all your fellow
Yeah,
collaborators.
me and Andy Nyman and Andrew O'Connor. Yeah, we love
Oh
it.
yes, the gang is still
The
together.
gang, it's the little
gang,
gang,
the
yeah.
big three. What are you going to do next? What's the next big thing?
After a year of painting and resting, I don't know. I guess I'll tour again, but I do need just a bit of a breakout. But
Yeah?
yeah,
Good for you, mate.
that'd be nice.
Excellent. Nice to see you.
I do enjoy it.
Good luck at TalkSport.
Yes, I'm off there now to talk sport.
Who are you going to pretend you
nothing.
support?
I don't know. I'll be
What's the
making up-
safest ground for Darren and
Help me.
TalkSport?
I mean,
Is he breakfast showing or is he mid-morninging? Because breakfast show, you've only got 9 minutes left. If we carry on talking, you don't have
it is now. No, it is now.
Go.
All right.
Go on.
But they're waving.
Go on. I'm not a magician, but it's time for you to vanish.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Darren.